The UFL is gaining momentum as viewership numbers are on the rise coming out of week 3. It's put up or shut up time for a couple teams entering week 4. If it's UFL talk, you know what podcast does it better. Go on. You can say it.
And that's the bottom line. You want a war? You're going to get one.
Rise to the top, oh yeah.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
What do you
Must
think,
be
Eric?
bottom line time.
What
Must
do
be
you
bottom
think?
line time.
You
love
like the Bill Alexander Yacht Club duds I got on?
I like it. I like it. That's solid. Very solid.
As of last Saturday, an official member of the Yacht Club in Memphis.
It's
So,
Wednesday. Is it time?
Well, just so you know,
I mean,
when we had our tailgate down in Memphis, you know, as you can imagine, none of the Memphis fans went home happy. But I got
Well.
to tailgate with the Yacht Club, but there was a little bit of Houston flavor wrapped in. We had well, you've seen him on our show before. There was KJ. And as you can tell, he was wearing shades there too. That must be
that's a staple. That's a
okay.
staple.
Then who else we got? We got the Rig Rockers. Big Rig now has his brother back with him, so the Rig Rockers are back. We had the Predator couple. Predator couple were there. God dang, I got one of those masks too coming. That's going to be a forever permanent to my backdrop. Don't get any better than that. And then, of course, we've had Jeremy on the show, the boatsman. Here's Jeremy.
Got the
And
helmet
believe me,
on.
tell you when you see him, you think, yeah, he was a football player, all right. He's a pretty big dude.
I don't
So,
know how he handles that helmet all the time.
so you missed that. So, and then when we come back, of course, we drove back Saturday from the game because Sunday we had the St. Louis DC game. But of course, we had to have the Avenue of Flags at the bottom line tailgate. Does that not look impressive?
You gonna put it up there? Or?
It is up there. Can't you see?
No, I can't see it.
How about you, KJ? Can you see it? Oh, well. You must be messing up again, Eric.
No, that you talking about that right there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
now I
can't-
can see it because I
Well-
put it up there.
Well, damn, you're getting old, man.
That's legit, man. I'm glad that I contribute
That
to
is
the Avenue
legit.
of Flag.
And when the wind cooperates, you have
Yeah.
the unveiling of all 8 teams, the UFL flag, and the bottom line flag.
Listen, I know you guys did breakfast on Sunday, but I looked at the spread that you guys had in Memphis. Bill Alexander.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, whoa.
Before we
That's
talk
crazy.
any more about it, I'm going to bring this guy on because, have you ever seen those commercials where they have on now where they go, if you're a man over 40, you look in the mirror and see this. Okay. So before I bring this next guy on, when you think of the commercial and you think about this guy, he's always so trim and he's always looking good. So when he says, you see a man over 40 looking in the mirror, this is what you see. This is what you should see. And then someone like this pops up.
Why's it got to be that way, KJ? Why's it got to be that way?
He set me up, man.
Men over 40 look in the mirror and they see this. But I got something for you.
I just talked to my agent yesterday. I've got a Just for Men contract coming soon. No, I'm just kidding.
But when they do guys that are 60 like me, they're like, guys over 60 look in the mirror and they see this. But really, what
is making a comeback, Ed? So you should strut your stuff with some pride.
but
Ladies,
really what you're seeing is this.
I love it.
That's the difference in 20 years, baby. But I'm still sporting the glasses. See that? The glasses are legit. The glasses are legit.
That's classic. Oh, man. Boy, we're really getting this show off to a bang with that picture up there. Whoa. Unbelievable. Was that a baby or was that a recent picture?
That was a very recent picture. That was a very recent picture. That was right before I got a haircut.
Yeah, a haircut, all right.
But you've left a game that Houston played when you have the official coin of the Houston Roughnecks.
There it
None
is.
other than KJ. Do you got like a special name you use for this bad boy?
not a special use per se. I don't play golf, so that I know a lot of people use their coins as markers. That's like the number one go-to thing for most recreational sports people. I mean, for me, probably it'd be the whole like if I went colonial with Mr. Excalibur or someone else at the bar and challenge them to a duel, that'd probably be the coin that kicked things off. So.
Oh, if you were going to play quarters or something, that'd be perfect.
That's
hell.
yeah, you get like a
In
real good
Vegas,
and play dice or something on the ground.
Yeah.
in Vegas, that's got to get you one pull on the slot machine, doesn't it? $20 slot.
I'm sure those oversized ones, yeah, for sure.
Oh, Ed, I got to put this up. This is about Heart Attack City out of the comment line. Look at that. That's a positive comment, I think.
Can you believe that? What? He didn't say anything about my shirt.
John must
That's
have a
an
weak moment.
official-
or something.
I tried to follow suit and join the White Polo Club for everybody at the bottom line, and
Well,
then
I
everyone
would too.
shows us
I
all
would-
up over here.
Hour two, I'll have that on. But for the first hour, I got to support Bill Alexander when he makes you an official member of the yacht club, and he gives you a shirt like this. You got to represent, man.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Bill, if you're watching, I'll take one. XL.
And Bill, if you're watching, that was a first class tailgate. So
Oh, I saw the pictures. Oh, KJ, you were there. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like mouth watering.
yeah, but you ought to see me eating though. I had my white shirt on. I didn't want to pull a Palco, so I was like eating like this.
They legit, Eric. They had if the few of us who attended the tailgate aren't enough of a testament, you can ask Ed because I think he was standing by when some of the ladies came by. They were doing like a breast cancer nonprofit fundraiser thing right next door in the main plaza of the Liberty Bowl kind of tailgating area. And I think they had like 3,000 to 8,000 people attending that event.
Yeah.
It was a huge crowd. And we had, handful after handful of people come by the barbecue trailer where they were cooking up and asking like, hey, is there any for sale? Can we get some barbecue? Like they literally were foaming at the mouth, so to speak, or drooling at the mouth for food. It was attracting a crowd for sure.
Mike comments he can't wait for Memphis in May. You will not be disappointed. I will tell you that.
Hey, this is definitely you do, Ed. They're not kidding here. Let's see, where is it? I just had it. Here it is.
My shirt wins.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there is the Panther. Just in case they're wondering, it's right there.
Oh, well, are we?
Oh,
ready
we
to get into
probably
football,
need
or-
we probably need to get going. We got a lot to cover.
Oh, Bill is on. Bill
Is on.
XL, bud. Hit me up after the show, whatever you need.
One
I
of
need
those
one of those.
days, but Bill, it fits perfectly, as you can see. All right, let's get going here. So the first game we're going to go over was Arlington and Birmingham. It was the Friday night game that kicked off week 3.
Rough.
So we're going to start off courtesy of the NFL or UFL, and we are going to see the week 3 highlights.
Ready, set.
3rd and 8 from the 11. Corral going deep, and it's going to be intercepted at the 35 by Joe Powell.
Ready, set.
Corral off the punt, finds the open man. That's Sternberger. Lost the football. Loose in the end zone, and it's recovered by Arlington. Ajane Harris came up with the... Perez jumps this one to Canella. Trying to find some space. There's none there. Look at all those red jerseys, and the ball didn't come out at the end of the play. Stallions certainly think it did, and the officials are unstacking the pile, and we'll wait and see. I'm here.
Ready, set.
30 seconds to go. Corral looking for the end zone. Wide open touchdown, Birmingham. A flag is down on the...
Ready, set.
Corral stumbles, lunging touchdown, and the extra point gives Birmingham the lead 10-9. The conversion is good.
Oh,
So as you can see, anybody who watched that game on Friday night, that game should have never come down to that.
no.
And as you can imagine, at post-game conference, courtesy of the UFL, here was Bob Stoops, head coach Bob Stoops' comments on the game.
Did a lot of really good things. Some takeaways, I thought, offensively in the second half. We had 2 possessions that we were in field goal range, and we got nothing. We took a 15-yard sack on one to put us back, and then we I don't know, I forget how it all transpired, but 2 times we were down inside where all we got to do is get another field goal, and they can have that last touchdown, and it isn't going to matter. But 2 different times we go down there and end up with 0. We had a fumble on one, and then however else we got pushed back out of the other one. And so we didn't play clean enough offensively to get, and as well as if you can't get the ball in the end zone, you kick too many field goals, you set yourself up for this. And so if we'd have been able to kick another one, we could have got away with it, but we didn't because we weren't very good when we got across the 50 in our execution. Because we got a kicker that could kick long field goals, and he's really good. So, but that's how it all unfolded, and the defense did really good.
So as you can imagine, there towards the end, they had a play that was false start, but the play went ahead and ran instead of a dead ball foul like that. So regardless, if it's a penalty pre-snap, there's no ability to decline it. So the play is what it is. But there was a lot of uproar by Arlington fans after the game, thinking they got robbed. But here's what head coach Stoops had to say, courtesy of the UFL, as it pertained to that final penalty.
We were so close, thought we had it. We had them stopped, and they review a procedure, penalty, which you're not allowed to decline the penalty because it's a procedure. And, it's one that's supposed to be called and stop the clock immediately. So that's what happened there, and they got another chance. And, golly, we got a guy hanging all over the ball, and the guy makes a diving catch and gets to first down by a half a yard. So.
Well,
So what?
he said it there. It's a procedure penalty. I don't know how many people I saw on social media. We got screwed. I know it's tough. Everybody's been on one side or the other of some of those things. But the rules are the rules. And regardless of that play happening, when it's a procedure penalty like the false start, nothing happens. It's dead. There's no play. And when they reviewed it, I mean, yeah, I get you. Yep, you benefited. But yes, I mean, it's there's really no argument. And I know Arlington fans were ticked, but at the same time, if it goes the other way and they don't review it or whatever, the Birmingham, is saying, well, it shouldn't even happen because he did jump off, and I know it's a penalty against us, but penalties are penalties and procedures are procedures. So it was the right call. As mad as Renegade fans might be, it was the right call, and Coach Stoops said it right there. So can put that to bed. It's over and done with. But
yep, I was in that the post game press conference, sitting right there at Stoops, and got a little skittish on asking him any questions. Really, I could tell he was upset. But Moose was actually sitting behind me to the right, and he made a statement. I don't know if the camera called it or whatever, but Moose said everyone liked our rules until tonight. He just kind of laughed, and I'm sure they scanned through social media and all that. And Bob mentioned to him, Coach Stoops mentioned to him afterward, is that something that we can look at about possibly declining next year in the future? And Moose said, we'll definitely talk about it when we meet. I think it's every January when they all meet and decide which what to alter and change. But yeah, he was a little sideways about that, to say the least. I know the fans were.
Well, I mean, let's face it. How many times have you been watching an NFL game and something happens? You're like, how do they not call that? But the thing about the Super Challenge in the UFL is, and we'll talk about this in a later game, Super Challenges are great when you use them the correct way. If you don't use them, you blow it, and then there might be something that happens later on that could have changed the trajectory of the game, and you don't have your Super Challenge left. But in that case, it wasn't a Super Challenge because it was under 5 minutes or whatever it was, so it was automatically reviewed by the booth. But it was the right call.
Yeah, I was in the press box, and I mentioned to Ed that I could tell live instantly that the left tackle was offsides. He was on my side of the field, on the home side of the field, and it was rather. I mean, I turned to the guy next to me and said, "Are they not going to call that?" And they let the play go on, and Matt throws a. I don't know what you call it, and Arlington picked it. So I get why the Arlington fans were mad and upset, but it was obvious to me live, that the play should have been whistled immediately.
Right. Well, KJ, I'll ask you. I realize that Arlington fans can look at that one particular play and say, well, the game should have been over. We intercepted it, whatever. But don't you agree? I mean, Arlington had every opportunity to win that game.
That's what Stoops touched on in the press conference, man. He highlighted every basic red zone visit they made where they couldn't capitalize. I mean, that's been to the Houston Roughnecks' detriment. You know, a lot of our problems this year and last is not being able to kind of seal the deal at the end of a drive. So, I mean, yeah, if you can't take it all the way home, then shame on you, not the other team for, you know, losing the game. So.
Yeah. I mean, to
And
look at them play.
And Luis Perez said it again after the game. You know, he keeps saying that Arlington has a standard on offense. And he said it now for several weeks that they're not meeting the standard and they're just kicking too many field goals. But just as easy as you say that, you could also look at Birmingham. Birmingham is struggling on offense. And
terrible.
And when Skip Holtz was asked in the presser about the offense, this is what he had to say, courtesy of the UFL.
I do know this, that I don't know what we have to be right now as an offense. I keep saying this, we're learning who we are. I don't think in the years past we have been a 16-play drive, control the ball, go down the field, score. We've been able to run the ball. We've been able to throw the ball. We've been very efficient as an offense the last 2 years. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to make this offense something it's not. Maybe our best way to be productive is to open this thing up a little bit more and start to throw it. Maybe we're not good enough to be able to do it the other. We just got to find a way to score one more point than they do. And there's going to be some games where we've got to win 10-9, and there's going to be some games that we're going to have to win 28-27. And we've got to really take a hard look at who we are as an offense and what we need to do to move this thing forward to be able to keep improving as an offensive football team.
What's your take, Brett?
Again, I was there, and he was quite red-faced every time he mentioned the quarterback play, and he did not let Matt off the hook. And Matt, give him credit, he owned it. He had a bad game. Well, our saving grace, and he said, I don't know if it was something that we caught, and if it was after the so-called post-game presser, but he mentioned at the DC game, I think third or fourth quarter, he went and told the defense, he said, look, guys, if we're going to be a championship year team this year, we're going to need you. We're going to really need the defense to step up. And I'm going to tell you, ask Michigan, ask DC, ask everyone we've played. Our defense is going to be a problem this year. We've got probably the best pass rush that we've had in our 4 years being back over at the edge. And then look at how we stoned Michigan 4 times up the middle. Our defensive line is a problem, but our offense is an even bigger problem. Out of sync, not able to run the ball. Skip's real good at getting 3, 4, 5 yards on first down and then putting the defense on their heels to where you don't know what we're going to do next. And we've always had, like you said, weapons, mobile quarterbacks, and we're just not getting anything in the running game. And it's not the running backs. They just really have nowhere to go.
Well, I also, see Jay's comment here. We don't need to open it up. Corral threw into double coverage all night. It did kind of surprise me when Coach Holtz mentioned opening up the offense, because the type of game that Corral had screamed to me that maybe they need to introduce more of a running game. So the fact that he said open it up, maybe he meant by opening it up, opening up more of the playbook, maybe. I don't know.
That would say better team passing or something to that effect. I think Brett will acknowledge, and I can defend at least Matt in this one attribute. The one notable interception pass there at the start of the highlights that you saw was just Matt trying to make something out of nothing, which was a similar thing that I think Bryce Perkins did in the Michigan game or
just trying to force it, man. Matt's got a little bit of gunslinger in him. He wants to make something happen, and look at what happened to Memphis this weekend, and some of these other quarterbacks like Perkins. You just can't. It's better off to live another down, as they say. And look, I told Ed, I think where we really screwed up against DC was being spread so much, because we left our tackles out on an island, and they just got exposed. But I will say this: I don't know what Skip said to the fellas after that first game, but I got news for y'all. Birmingham hasn't given up a sack since the first game, and they have it hasn't that that Matt's more mobile than Alex Magoo, obviously, because he's not. The line has really stepped up the pass protection. Now, again, on the run gaps and things of that nature, there hasn't been any. I do think Skip needs to change it up some more on his first down play calling. That's just my personal opinion.
When he says open it up, they threw 41 times. That's a lot. And at the beginning of the year, and Brett, correct me, but the most disappointing piece of the Birmingham offense is not, up front. It's not even the running game to me. It's not the receivers. I thought at the beginning of the year, Birmingham had an embarrassment of riches at the quarterback. You had Alex Magoo, Matt Corral, Case Cookus, like Coach Holt said in one of the Wednesday pressers that, he's 100-yard dash and he's 50 yards behind coming in. I mean, their quarterback play. I mean, they're 2-1, but their quarterback play has not been good.
We're 2-1 because of our defense, and like I said, if we had this defense the last 3 years, there wouldn't have been nobody touch Birmingham. But that's very, it's unique now. If Birmingham wants to be a championship contender this year and get in the playoffs and have a chance to get back to St. Louis, like Skip said, I'm sorry, I think we're going to have to do it a different way. And I don't care what anybody says. Birmingham really missed Deion Kane this weekend. He was not there. He was celebrating the birth of his second boy, I believe, and you could tell Deion's a problem on punt and kick returns. He really is, and we were just not the same team on special teams without him. He can bust one loose every time he touches the ball.
No, Jay made a comment here that he was mad for 59 and a half minutes of that game, and you were at the presser, so I don't know if you picked up on this or not, but I sure did. Coach Holtz made a comment in a joking way that there was a lot of the crowd that found out Birmingham won that game in their car.
I had a buddy text me and said, "Isn't that unbelievable?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "It was wild." He said, "No, I didn't get to see it. I was in my car." I was like, I'm not gonna lie. Me and the guys around us, we stood up and started packing our stuff up. And when Matt hit that 4th and 12 or whatever to Williams, and he made that great catch between those two defenders, we kind of turned to each other and said, "Arlington's got a problem now." If we got that play, they got a problem.
Birmingham's defense reminds me a lot of the 2006 Bears when they went to the Super Bowl. They gave up a lot of yards between the 20s. I mean, Luis Perez threw for 230 yards or whatever it was.
Yeah.
9 points.
No, you're right. They do remind me a good bit of them. We've got a hell of a middle linebacker in Tizino. We're so thankful that he decided to come back another year. I'm kind of surprised he's not on the NFL roster. Our front seven is tough. I'm going to be honest. Probably the best, like I said, best front seven we've had in the 4 years we've been back, and we've got two guys in the NFL. I think there's 3 edge rushers on this team that's going to definitely be on NFL rosters next year. I don't know if they'll be practice squad or actually be able to make it up and play some games, but that defense is a problem.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So,
I agree.
We probably better move on to the next game. One of our guest co-hosts here, KJ, probably considers this game the game of the weekend, feature game. Let's go ahead, courtesy of the NFL, and watch. I keep saying NFL. Why in the hell am I saying NFL?
I don't know.
So you keep thinking about the draft next week.
About the draft we're covering next week.
Yeah.
Get that out of my head.
And Lambeau Field.
Courtesy of the UFL, here is the highlights of Houston at Memphis.
319 for time.
Perry looking that way, coming back underneath, showboats, touchdown, Lassiter. That drive belonged to him.
It's not there. Throw it in the stands.
Anderson trying to scramble out of pressure, throwing to the end zone. Yes. Emmanuel Butler, the second touchdown of the season.
Let's go. We're going for.
They take a leave of absence for medical reasons. Missed week number 1. E.J. Perry floating. This one picked off. Leon O'Neal looking for the house call. He's got it. He did that back in the day. They would try to solve.
This is the game right here.
12 yards. Williams, 4th down, end zone, incomplete, broken up.
There's a flag in the backfield.
Colby Richardson, the Bayou. Troy Williams looking for some magic. He's going to run for it. End zone. Memphis within 1, and the over hits. Troy Williams hit. And that play is blown up as it was Jameer Jones supplying the pressure. Houston holds.
So KJ, I'm gonna give you first shot at this. What was you feeling at the end of that game before I let you hear what CJ was feeling?
I mean, I'm sure I won't be speaking only for myself, but the other fellow super fans of ours in attendance, relief was probably the first emotion, because there was a scare element there at the end with Memphis knocking on the door. But I mentioned it literally to both Rig and Mr. Predator when we were in the stands there watching kind of them move down the field. And I was like, as stressful as this is, I'm glad we're in the lead. And I know that's kind of a cliche, corny thing to say that could apply to any team. But the very fact that we played from the advantage of having the lead that game, I think, is what obviously contributed to us being able to pull away with the win, leaning on the defense, which I don't think anybody would argue is more of our overall general strength if you had to compare both sides of the ball for the Roughnecks. Defense played lights out, obviously. Memphis's own internal struggles obviously helped us to some degree. But I think, if anything, this game showed that CJ, and he made the comment right there, literally before they even made it into the press conference room, as they're walking off the field with the presser, announcing Nolan to be the starter. I think this game unequivocally proved that.
Yeah.
I want to say he's had the highest completion percentage in a game of any QB all season, at least from what I read and seen through the stat sheets, which I thought it is Memphis. It's not DC. I get it. But I think it's something we still can, as fans, can take some pride in. So
we're sitting in the presser waiting for CJ to come in. When he come in, it was like he was doing a little sidestep. He had energy to burn. And of course, the question I had to ask. Ed from the Bottom Line. I can just tell in the general attitude what this game meant to you guys. How can something like this spark the rest of your season and get you going down the right track here?
Well, you always talk about hope. You hope to win, you wish you could win. Now that we got one, I would hope that this team would accelerate and push it forward, say, look, I'm greedy, I want another one, and another one, and another one. Because we know right now, sitting in here, if we play hard and the next team play hard, it's going to be a dogfight. And that's what this league is about.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, yeah, he was definitely feeling it. But I got more of a sense that he just felt like the weight of the world was off his shoulders. They always say the hardest win in a season is the first one.
For sure.
The more you wait to get that first win, the more pressure builds and builds and builds. So,
and just to throw a little caveat here, our own Ed's question was featured by the UFL.
That is true.
It was featured by the UFL. So, I mean, Ed doing a great job. Good job, bud.
So
when I saw it on the UFL official site, I got all excited and I sent it to Ed and I said, "Hey man, I think I kept calling him I said, hey, man, you made the UFL. You made the main page with your question. And he's like, really?
So when I was down on the field, who's one of the first guys I walked by? None other than Sims. So when I walked by, he kind of turned around and I said, hey, I said, you got any words for Michigan? And he says, he goes, I just want Michigan to know I'm going to make them pay for trading. And so,
and what a guy like Sims does, for Houston's offense, can be measured in a lot of ways. But one of the biggest things is you got to pay attention to him.
Yep.
You got to bracket him. You got to have somebody underneath coverage, over the top. I mean, he's a guy that it's going to be difficult to just say, okay, we're going to match up man to man with Sims and we're going to let it go. Very few teams have that ability. So, I mean, once he gets more incorporated, more comfortable, it might open the door for Houston a little bit.
He wasn't stagnant by any means. Even in the Memphis game, I think they spent some time double covering him, which obviously helped us from a first defense standpoint. But then I think I didn't look at the stat sheet, but I want to say Mr. Predator looked at it after the game, or somebody did, and told me that even he had gotten some catches, some that I didn't catch visually during watching the game. So, I mean, he was both actually facilitating the receiving game as well as kind of just being a decoy in a sense to pull off some of that better secondary coverage that would have been applied to our other receivers through the course of the
game. You could tell that it was probably a little too early to be fully incorporated into the offense, but me, I had to ask CJ in the press conference about that, and here's what he had to say, courtesy of the UFL.
Can you comment on, they seem to be paying a lot of attention to Sims that you just received in a trade from Michigan. Did they present something on defense that made it hard for him to get involved in the game today?
Well, two things. You're absolutely right. Two things. We had limited touches, but one thing they did a great job clowning to him. They put two guys in, one over top, one over bottom. They wanted to eliminate his running ability to catch and run. And man, every time we try to throw him one of those quick screens, they were knifing in there, and they were, so I thought they prepared themselves well for the defensive coordinator. Did an outstanding job for Sims.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what KJ said. I tell you what, from what I saw up in the box, Houston's defense is legit. Now the question becomes, KJ, can your offense get to a point where they can start generating enough points? Now, this weekend's going to be a perfect example with Birmingham coming to town. Birmingham's offense is struggling right now. So do I think Houston's defense can keep a lid on this game and make it winnable? I certainly do. The question becomes, with Birmingham's defense, is Houston's offense going to be able to generate any kind of scoring drives?
Yeah, I would say for us, I think it's 2 to 3-fold in terms of what it's really going to come down to when you get down to the nitty-gritty, and that's going to be O-line protection. We need to establish the run and actually do something with it, not just, run into our offensive line every time we try to ground and pound the ball. If those two things can happen, then I think it will allow for more fluidity and dynamic play in the passing game. And we've already seen what Nolan can do, even if he has to rush outside the pocket. Dude's a laser beam. So, you look at the stats. Some people may disagree with me, and they're more than entitled to if they so choose. But on paper, so far this season, Nolan's the better QB. Granted, he's had one more game to play, and that was the game we got blown out against St. Louis, but he didn't start, and he barely got any reps against Arlington. Call it what you will. I'll give Birmingham all the credit in the world. We have not played St. Louis, or we have not played well against St. Louis. We definitely haven't played DC, and I don't think anyone would argue at this point in the season that they're the team to beat, the number one team, just based on overall performance. He did very well against Memphis, and honestly, that was, I think, the best I've seen him play, even accounting for how last season was. And he got a lot of reps through 2024. So, I think he's shown starch improvement compared to last year, and I'm very optimistic and excited for even the entirety of the season, not just this coming week. with him respectively. But it's not a one-man show. Offensive line's got to step up and protect him, or he's going to be running for his life like he was against St. Louis. And it's going to be a lot harder to be fruitful and profitable every series.
So I had to ask the question, and I'm sure Coach Wisenhunt knew it was coming because he was loaded for it. He was ready for it. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I had to ask the question. So, courtesy of the UFL, here was the first question that come Coach Wisenhunt's way in the presser.
Yes, sir.
Thought process there on that last conversion.
It was about 50. There's about 50 different directions going on at one time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what was your, sometimes you hear them say when you're at home you play for the tie, when you're on the road you play for the win. What was you seeing in the course of that game, the way it was ended, that you felt like the 2-point conversion was right?
We had a chance to get the win and wrap it up right there, and we felt good about what we were going to do. So, that's why we did it. It was, in hindsight, I guess you can say whatever you want to say, but our guys fought. And listen, the way the game went, and when we fought back to get back in it and made some plays, we wanted to get the win.
It was funny because, I certainly meant no disrespect when I asked the question, but when he started talking armchair quarterback and everything, so outside when we were done with the presser, we're walking by the buses, and Coach Wisenhunt literally walks right by me. And while we were walking past, he had that look on his face like, "You're that guy." I struck down when I said, "Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it."
But I don't. What I don't understand is, you want to go for the win. I get that. You're trying to grab that win, and maybe you felt good about the 2-point play that you had called, but there's not a person, I can't believe there's a person in that stadium, people watching like myself, thought they were going to do anything but come in and go for one. Let's get this thing into OT, and let's see what happens there in our home stadium. When they came out and went for 2, I looked at my middle kid and said, what are they doing?
Well, but the only thing I'll say in Memphis's defense is that there's a big difference between kicking an extra point to tie it and actually having to go 2 yards out and score a 1 point. So to me, even if you go for 1, there's a lot better chance you're going to get it. Yes, I agree. But it's still not an easy play to score on.
I get it. But the thing of it is, in my opinion anyway, when the ball's on the 2, the entire running game's open too. Doesn't mean they're going to run it. It just means the entire running game's open. When you're at the 5 and I'm the defensive coordinator, you know what I'm thinking? Ball's going in the air. Well, when it's at the 2, you can't automatically assume the ball's going in the air.
That is a good point you make, Eric. I would say the 1-pointer allows for better dynamic play calling. When you come from the 5, if you're a running strength team, I think you definitely think twice about going for 2 in those situations, because those 3 yards make a big difference, especially when you're going on the ground. Passing's a different animal because there's a lot more. You can move faster with a running receiver.
Well, let's face it. This, through the first 3 weeks of the season, has been way more of a defensive league.
True.
So for me, and I'm not second-guessing Coach Wisenhunt because he's got way more experience in football than I do. But that plays on my mind, and I say to myself, this has been a defensive league. The defenses have been winning more than they've been losing here. Let's go for the win and see what happens there. Or let's go for 1. Let's see what happens in OT here. Kudos if they make it and they win 19-18, he's a hero. But instead, we're talking about the fact they went for 2 and it just didn't work out for them. And it worked out for you, but it didn't work out for Memphis.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
And I tell you, the difference between 0-3 and 1-2 is just light years.
Oh,
KJ's team's one win away from being 500, you know, and making that climb. When you're 0-3, I mean, you got to get 3. We got to get 3 wins before you even can say you're at 500.
Yeah.
It's just such a difference that you can just literally feel the difference. You know, Houston started out the presser. They're coming in, and the players and the coaches, they're all on cloud 9. When it was Memphis's turn, Coach Wisenhunt comes in, just coach. And he sat down like, let's get this over with. But I tell you what, he sat there and answered every question. And he didn't have attitude, no nothing. So, you know, you can tell he's a seasoned veteran when it comes to coaching, that's for sure.
Well, and you know, with the recent news, it just gets tougher for Memphis now.
Yeah.
You know, with Coach Wisenhunt stepping away and Coach Turner coming in now, obviously Coach Turner had game 2 of the season, but it only gets tougher for Memphis now. I mean, I you know, maybe it won't make a difference, but I got to believe that losing your head coach, and this time he is gone. I mean, there's no leave of absence type of thing. He is gone. So, and I do believe it's personal reasons, health. You know, I think, Brett, I think you talked about that. With potentially his wife, him or his wife, but you know, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But it's got to be. It's an even tougher road for Memphis going forward, because now you've taken the head of your leadership and cut him off. Not saying Turner's not capable, but it's just the way it goes. So. I mean,
I'll say that to Showboat's credit, I think they played DC admirably well despite losing that game. And that was week 2 against the team that did not show like week 1 struggles and rustiness, if you will, in how they played Birmingham. So I think to their credit, obviously, I think they still can be competitive. But yeah, to your point, there's going to be some vague unquantifiables that we can't, you know, measure that are going to possibly be lacking because of
and what's Coach Mazzoni going to do offensively? Is he just going to say, well, we're 3 weeks deep, so we've got to keep everything that Coach Wisenhunt was doing? But if that's not him, he's going to want to start – he's going to want to start incorporating his own things if that's not his philosophy or whatever the case may be. So now there's an adjustment period for those types of things, a learning curve, whatever it may be. So – I mean, I really feel bad for Memphis as an organization. I feel bad for Bill and the Yacht Club, and I feel bad for all their fans because it just really puts them behind the 8 ball. And so, you know, it could be a long year for Memphis, no question.
When you talk about devastating losses so far in 2025, that's got to rank right up there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
so we're going to move on because all the Birmingham-Houston talk for the game coming up in week 4, I want to save for a little bit farther down the road before I let these two start duking it out. we might have to at least put them diagonal or something.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They reach through the screen.
So you can't point at him like, you know.
So let's move on to the San Antonio, Michigan game. And courtesy of the UFL, let's watch the highlights and we'll comment on the other end.
And Perkins again, the keeper reaching across the goal line. Second touchdown of the afternoon for Bryce Perkins. McFarland's had the hot hand. Mond has 2. Floats in, end zone for the touchdown. And guess who? Anthony McFarland reels in the score. And Kellen Mond a touchdown. Time winding down here in the 3rd quarter. Sheridan, a spin move. Oh, he pressed the X button. Sheridan to the end zone.
Aaron Dolan to the bank.
Big play, Jaden. Extending the Panthers' lead. Any points on this possession makes it a 2-possession game. And it's intercepted. Jordan Williams keeps it in bounds, still on his feet, racing back the other way. And the San Antonio Brahmas right back in the mix.
That's
So-
a tough game for San Antonio. Because as we talked about with Memphis, being 0-3 in, what looks to be, at least at this point in the year, a tougher side, that really puts them in a serious hole. Now, they fought to the end, and I thought, man, this is going to increase Della Hayes' followers by about 40,000 when he makes this kick. Like, I thought he's making this kick. Like, it's the thing that I love about the UFL, but it's a thing that I also, if I was a San Antonio fan, I would hate about the UFL. They're driving down. It looks like he's going to have an opportunity to kick the game-tying kick, and they got a sideline reporter right in his face. Like, if you make this, get in there. I'm going to make it. Like, what else is he supposed to say? I'm really kind of nervous,
I bet you $50. The kicker's name is destroyed. They don't ask the question.
Yeah. So as a UFL fan watching the game with no dog in the fight, I'm thinking that's kind of cool. As a San Antonio fan, I'm like, get out of his face. Quit
leave him alone. Leave him alone.
My God, let him focus. And you're over here telling, so, but yeah, I thought, man, this is perfect. He's going to go drill this, and here we are. But, he missed it left, and San Antonio falls to 0-3. This was a real kick in the gut for San Antonio. And I don't know, Brett, you tell me, Kellen Mond played better. I think he was 19 of 31. Had a touchdown pass, QBR somewhere in the neighborhood of mid-80s. But there's something off about San Antonio. What is it?
Welcome to the show, Mr. Predator. That flag? I told you it'd be in my backdrop. There it is. There it is. Well, these guys get around, man. But I gotta say, I'm sure their drive back down to Houston was a lot easier after Saturday's game than otherwise. That's for sure.
So, Brett, what is it? What are they missing? What is it about San? Because what is it?
I really feel like offensively they did much better in this game than what they have been doing, and you got to commend the offensive coordinator that just stepped down. I really felt like deep down, you go back and look at their first two games, he didn't do a very good job of getting the ball to McFarland, like Ed mentioned repeatedly, trying to get the ball to Kirkland. What about Lovett? I mean, you got three guys on that roster that were just Swiss Army knives last year, and look at there was one game I think Ed mentioned where the guy had 8 yards of carry, but he only got 4 or 5 carries. I mean, that's unacceptable play calling.
Well, look at when you say that, Brett, and I was going to bring this up. He only had 7 touches.
7 touches.
7 touches and had 54 yards. So again, he had almost 8 yards of carry. And it's like, what are you doing? He had a reception TD that I think was 10, 15 yards or whatever. But the guy's electric, and he shows it week in and week out, and still.
Kirkland and McFarland are a problem. And you got to ask yourself, too, guys, obviously Wade Phillips hasn't been feeling well. He's only been on the sidelines 1 game this year, which, I hope everything's well with him. I don't know the situation, but I mentioned on X earlier that we loved him and we can't wait to see him back on the sideline. And he actually, I think, liked and followed us earlier. And he's a great guy, and he's fantastic for the UFL. He's fantastic for San Antonio. And, I mean, he's a living legend in football, and I just want to wish him the very best. But again, that's got to be part of it, man, because, Wade's big on defense now. He keeps that thumb on defense like Skip does on offense, and Wade just, he's not feeling well right now, and I think that's part of it. They're missing a couple of their defensive linemen from last year, one of their big linebackers from last year. And, again, if you guys remember, I think every one of us, and pretty much Vegas, had picked San Antonio to be last in the XFL conference last year. And when they came back and won that, what was it, the the onside kick game, where in Memphis, I think it was week 2 or 3, San Antonio just kind of caught lightning in a bottle. And it don't take but 2 or 3, pieces to really throw the rhythm off. I mean, ever since the championship game with that lackluster performance in St. Louis, they just haven't been the same team.
So, courtesy of the UFL, this is what Kellen Mond had to say about the San Antonio offense after the game.
Mike Mueller, BCP Plus. Seems like each week you guys are getting a little bit closer to finding that victory. And I was just wondering, whoever wants to take this, what do you think is like the one area where you still feel like you need to improve just a little bit more to get you guys over that hump?
I'll go on this one. I mean, I think on the offensive end, I felt like we came out really sharp. We converted on third downs. I think we only punted one time in the first half, but kicking those 3 field goals instead of at least one, we would love to have all touchdowns. Is always huge in the game, especially when you go up early. I thought we did some good things in the second half, some QB runs, some big third down conversions. And at the end of the day, gave our special teams a chance to win games. He hit a game winner in practice, and we expect him to continue to hit game winners for us, or at least giving us a chance at overtime. So, we got all the trust in D and the whole special teams unit, and both offense and defense is going to continue to grow.
So again, I just comment on the fact that, yeah, their offense is getting better, but I still got to believe that you still have a ton of improvement to make with Anthony McFarland as far as getting him involved even more than he has been.
Well, the thing that alarms me the most is, and Brett alluded to it earlier, last year, what I remember of San Antonio was that Wade Phillips defense that was fast. They were gang tackling. It seemed like every time the ball was there, it was 4, 5, 6 gold, black jerseys, whatever. They were flying around the field. I can't say this for sure, but if I had to guess, San Antonio's probably given up the most points. They're probably bottom in the league as far as points allowed.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah, so it just surprises me that they're 0-3. It just surprises me.
It's both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Offensively they're struggling. Now again, Mond played better this week. So maybe he'll catch a little wind here, but just this team just does not look like the team that finished up last year. Not even close.
So, as strong as Michigan's defense is, the fact that McFarland still got almost a 8 yards per carry average really says a lot for his ability. But again, head coach Nolan was asked about Michigan's stout defensive line, and courtesy of the UFL, this is what he had to say about the Michigan defensive line.
Stay in this one little realm. You're doing the same thing all the time. They can tee off on you. And we get a little bit of that. So, but we changed that. Yeah. Wrap up with Michael back here. Yeah, Michael.
Hey, Coach. Every coach I've talked to the past 2 seasons on the opposing side has mentioned your D line. I'm curious what goes into your perspective of what makes them so special.
Great question, because I think our defensive line is unique in fact, number one, I really like who we have. All of them, I think, are quality players. They've all either been in the NFL or, well, really all of them have been in the NFL. The 4 starters have all been in the league, and then they've come out. There are guys. What I like the most about them is the way they play, though. They play extremely hard. They hustle. They're big men. And so that's, big man, it's hard to get him to run to the ball as much as those guys run, but they run to the ball. And I really like the techniques that we teach our D-line. It's not rush the pass every down. It's which some guys get away with coaching that way. And to me, that's not helping the players get better or even go to the next level. You got to be able to stop the run and the pass. And those guys.
So yeah, they're going into I guess Memphis goes to Michigan, don't they? In
yes.
Week 4. So you got to believe that. Boy, that could be another low scoring game there too.
Well, and I think we've kind of seen this in all the games and I think we would probably all agree that, I mean, at least through the first 3 weeks, this is a defensive league. As opposed to last year, I don't think the quarterback play has been as good. I think a lot of teams in the UFL are allergic to throwing in the middle of the field. I mean, you look at the games this week. Where did the pick sixes happen? Where do the almost pick sixes happen?
Yeah.
It happened from outside the hash marks.
Right.
And it seems like a lot of the passing game is outside the hash marks, either deep or outside the hash marks. And for me, I'm like, I feel like we have some good tight ends in this league. You know, Canella, Sternberger, Sutherland, Allen. I mean, there's some good tight ends, and it just seems like that middle of the field on every offense is just non-existent. And it gets a lot of these quarterbacks in trouble, I think. I think that's why we've seen the quarterback play kind of decline a little bit, because it's like, you don't have to defend the middle of the field. Let's just worry about the sideline and we'll call it good. I mean, would you agree, Brett, or am I missing something?
You know, one thing that we all talked about as when the USFL had their own deal and when the XFL had their own deal, you know, we mentioned from the get-go we didn't think that they were practicing long enough before the season. And, you know, the XFL came out and practiced, I think, an extra 10 to 14 days more than the USFL did, and, you know, camp-wise before the season started. And me and, you know, Mike Palco and a lot of us have talked privately, and we're pretty much all in agreement that not only do we need to practice at least have an extra week of camp next season moving forward, we need to have actual real preseason game for each team. You got 8 teams next year. We're supposed to have 10, just have 4 or 5 games, you know, just draw a number out of the hat or whatever and see who's going to play who, and at least get a real full preseason game, because you could tell week 2 last year things have started to pick up offensively. Well, you know, it took to week 3 this year, and I think that's just a lot of just lack of practice. You got a lot of turnover on these rosters, you know what I mean? And I think an extra week of camp in a full preseason game would do wonders moving forward.
So before we move on to the next game, I'd be remiss if I didn't give somebody a chance to comment on this game. But we've got 4 guys with the mute button that's gonna cut him off if he rambles on for too long.
Yeah,
let's break it. I mean, but we got to give him a chance to comment on the San Antonio, Michigan game. So let's bring him on. Hey, Michael.
How we doing, folks?
So now that you're a smarter coach.
Yeah, we just got off with Tim Holt, the offensive line coach for the Panthers. So we got to watch a little bit of tape of the San Antonio game, and they found this running back, Jaden Sheridan. He had a fantastic run there and for a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, what a great game that was. I got to watch it. I had to record the game and watch it, but what a great, you know, they had to rally back, and San Antonio put up a good fight. I thought about you, Eric. You said get the ball to McFarland, and I think they heard you.
Well, I mean,
they must have watched the bottom line.
Yeah,
well, they listened, they heard us, but they got to double the amount of touches he had.
Oh, I mean, he's the type of player that it's criminal if he doesn't have 15 touches. I mean, would you rather hand the ball off to an explosive back like McFarland? Now, McFarland's the back where hand it off, lose a yard, hand it off, 2 yards, hand it off, 1 yard, hand it off, 30. That's McFarland. Or at this point in the season, have Kellen Mond throw it 31 times. I mean, I don't know. It just blows my mind why McFarland is not touching the ball. Now, Kirkland, I went back and looked. He's averaging between 6 and 8 targets. Okay? I have zero problem with Kirkland having 6 to 8 targets. That's actually, with all the receivers they work in, stuff like that. McFarland touching the ball 7 times? I just, for the life of me, I just cannot understand why he's not touching the ball 14, 15 times. I just can't. I don't know.
Well, maybe that'll change with the new coach, well, at least for now. Best wishes to Wade Phillips, and hope he's well, and I hope Coach Wisenhunt, he's got hopefully things are, doing okay for him. I saw 2 coaches are taking leave of absence, and Wisenhunt, I think, just stepped down in full.
Yes.
So I hope everything's going well, because I think, for personal reasons, whichever the case, I just hope all is well. But good win for the Michigan. You got to keep pace. Birmingham's finding their footing, and you got to keep pace if you're the Panthers, and just keep. These games are going to start getting harder now. I think from what we saw with San Antonio is going to if they start figuring out, they're going to change the offense. The new offensive coordinator wants run the ball. He's a run the ball kind of guy. So we'll see. Well, it's 0-3. I'm not counting them out yet. And then, as we get going here, we're going to figure out who the contenders and pretenders are, and then someone's going to steal a few along the way.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to the DC St. Louis game. And courtesy of the UFL, let's watch the highlights.
Couple CFP natties. Play action on 2nd and 10. Chance for a strike downfield and right into the hands of Scott. Ty Scott, touchdown Defenders. He just had their 6th tackle for loss. Wilkins pressured, but lofts it towards the end zone. How about it? Battlehawks, big time here. 1st and goal. To the end zone. Touchdown. Just like you draw it up. Yeah, it's awesome, man. Briley Moore. Am I good? Thank you. 3rd and goal. To Amu. That ball is caught for a touchdown. Off the deflection. It is a Defenders touchdown. Cornell Powell. Wow. Up a miracle touchdown by Cornell Powell. DC, what a win this would be on the road for the Defenders. That ball's intercepted. The ball is intercepted by Sam Kidd.
I would love to know where all the interceptions are happening in the UFL. Outside the hash, outside the hash, outside the hash. It's just like nothing in the middle. Nothing
It's
in the
just
middle.
a testament to our awesome linebackers there.
I mean, Memphis outside the hash, Houston the other way. Michigan outside the hash, San Antonio the other way.
Running those bench routes.
DC outside the hash, and if we catch it, it's the other way. Like it just floors me. I mean, it just
Flat for crack. That's the new drug model for the UFL.
And this game, I think as Battlehawk fans, this game, and I think Ed would agree, this game was probably more of a gut punch than any game, because we didn't play that great. They come out and they get out 12-0 in the first quarter. And, we just offensively, we just didn't even look close to the same. And DC took away, what has made us successful for the first 2 weeks. And, Manny just fell apart. Ed, you agree? Manny just fell apart.
Manny turned into the Manny of 2024.
I mean,
he didn't get much action last season. He did towards the end, filling in for AJ, but to me, he is a scrambling, running style quarterback that has very limited ability throwing the ball.
Do you know So I went back and watched the game.
You too.
And Ed, yes, and you are 1,000% correct, and I can tell you why. To me, this is the problem with scrambling quarterbacks. He had a clean pocket to stay in. Take the ball, stay in the clean pocket, and we had a receiver coming right to the middle of the field wide open. But for whatever reason, scrambling quarterback, he scrambles out to the right, out of a clean pocket. And I could not believe my eyes. It was a 20-yard completion, however many yak yards after that. But he just had in his mind, I don't know if he was seeing ghosts, the pressure from earlier, whatever it might have been. He just felt the need to go to his right a lot. And credit DC, credit DC's pressure, credit DC's ability to stop the run. But as a quarterback, you have to be able to take advantage of those situations. I can see the play in my head. I see Manny take the snap. I see the receiver coming out of the slot. I believe it was Peasy, but I could be wrong. Could have been Mims. I can see him coming across the middle. And just as he's coming open in the middle, splitting the linebackers, I see Manny roll out to the right, and I'm like, how do we miss that?
I agree with Amanda here. That's like I agree with Amanda here. I was seeing that too. It's like they're going awful lot the Sailors even in the pass game. It's like can't be a check down Charlie. Like
he had
that was really what our problem was last year. We had the Bellhawks had a very good wide receiving core that was underutilized.
Yeah.
Because St. Louis got caught up in the short passing game, quick slants, that kind of thing. We never were able to stretch the field. And the good defenses, as KJ knows, as Brett knows, and as Mike knows, the more that you don't stretch the field, the more that defense just keeps tightening to where that quarterback drops back and he feels like he has nowhere to go. And it's almost like he becomes a quarterback that's always in panic, even when he doesn't have a reason to be.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your thoughts, Brett? And then we'll go to KJ. What were your thoughts watching that game?
Manny kept trying to force the ball. You wonder, as good as Sailors is, did they get him the ball enough? And DC proved when they played Birmingham first game. I hate to keep repeating myself, but DC's defensive line is a problem. They cause some havoc, and Williams, he's literally a chip off the old block. He was bringing pressure. That was a really good kind of a jump pass that Manny threw that ended up, in a touchdown. He let his wide receiver beat the guy out. And again, like Eric mentioned, he kept rolling out. I think it's to the right and should have thrown the ball away multiple times. Just, it was a rough day for St. Louis in the passing game. And I hate to say it because St. Louis has got a loaded roster, but did DC lay out the footprint for how you're going to beat St. Louis this year? Force them to throw the ball.
Well,
100%.
Well, courtesy of the UFL, Coach Beck shouldered a lot of the blame. Here's what he had to say in his postgame.
I got to be better coaching our guys. And at the end of the day, guys, I was a little surprised on, that part of it, the start of it. And that's on me because, quite frankly, you got to have a pulse on your football team. And I do. We're a good team. We played against a really good opponent today. They came to our house, though, and they took it from us. And, hopefully there's going to be a lot of growing moments from this game and this film. But, there's a lot of season left. We have a really good team. We just, we got beat top to bottom today. And that's what basically, what had happened. So lack of execution and turnovers really, put us in a bind today. And, we got to be better there, and it starts with me.
So, KJ, what's your thoughts on Jordan Ta'amu's performance in the game? I mean, he didn't go mistake-free either, but he made the plays, I think, when he needed to. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he played very well. Maintained his general mobility, which is one of the things he's known for, obviously. It was funny. They showed the graphic, I think, after the game of him in 2020 in, Battlehawk Blue. And we're showing the old versus new. I forget the caption, how it was worded. But, yeah, I'm sure there were some fans that were OG fans, you could say, who were wishing they had him back. But, no, I think he played very well. Yeah, to your point, he wasn't mistake-free by any means. But I think that really is what the clutch component is what differentiates the cream of the crop from the rest at any position. And I think he showed that in that game. While he made mistakes, they weren't at the most critical clutch moments in the game, I don't think. And because of that, DC was able to salvage holistically as a team and still maintain a lead and just kind of keep pouring it on.
See,
through the course of the game.
KJ, you nailed that. I disagree with one point. I don't think Te'amu had a very good game. The stats don't. I mean, he 3 games this year. 3 games.
All 3.
His completion percentage for all 3 games under 50%. But where I 1,000% agree with you is Jordan has that clutch factor.
Right.
Okay, I need to make this throw. Boom.
Right.
I'm going to be terrible on this one. I'm going to look crap. Yeah, I'm going to look crappy on this one. I'm going to throw a pick here. I'm going to overthrow this. Oh, I need to make this throw. Laser right on target.
Whenever anyone insinuate he's doing it on purpose, but yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. To justify that point, look at the King of Spring, Perez. It's like so many people boost him up, and he is a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's not. My point is that in critical moments, you look at the it still is like so fresh in my mind. I think I want to say it was the first game of last year when they played Birmingham, and he literally threw a pick at like the worst moment in the game to allow Birmingham to come back and win that one. And it's just like, you are so good on the statistics 80 to 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Why can't you just not screw up in these critical moments? And that's almost his Achilles heel, to juxtapose your point about Thomas, where like a lot of the times he would be throwing air balls out of nowhere, but then he somehow can pull it off when he needs to. So.
Here's the deal. 17 of 37. Ty Scott breaks to the middle, drops a dime, touchdown.
Beautiful pass.
Beautiful pass.
So as you guys talk about Jordan, Coach Beck also talked about Jordan, courtesy of the UFL. This is what he had to say.
Say this, Jordan's a very professional player. He's very seasoned. He may not have had the best completion percentage today, but when he needed him to make a big play, he hit it. And that was part of our deal this week, is like, he's going to make 3 big passes in this game, and we have to find a way to shut those things down. And he made the big touchdown. The tight ends got 2 critical catches today against us, and those third down conversions were huge for them, because we did our jobs in the first and second down, and when you back them up, we just got to be better in those moments. I mean, 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, I get it. Those are harder to stop, but when you got them 10-plus yards, and we just got too good of a players to let those kind of things happen. But, yeah, the ball was going their way today in those circumstances, but shout out to Jordan. I just think he's always been a moment guy. When those moment comes, if he doesn't make it, he doesn't make it. But when he does, he's not going to be deterred on trying to make those plays, and he made a few today.
And here's Jordan's comments that he made concerning playing in the Dome in St. Louis, courtesy of the UFL.
Jordan.
Yeah.
You're back playing in this stadium again. I know the Battlehawks used to be your old team.
Yep.
How did that make you feel coming back into the stadium?
Felt amazing, honestly. I love the Lou. I love the environment, the way, they're loud. So just being back in here just feels amazing. I mean, I played this is my 8th game in this dome. So, Coach Stevens said it before, hey, this is your home. So, defend it like it is. So that was our goal. That was my goal, to go out there and win any means necessary. And we did that.
So
he's like a kid in a candy shop in that interview. That was funny.
Oh my God! If I
so
told
do I want to play both? Do I want to play both of Coach Harris's pressers, or do I just want to, he obviously was plenty animated with the win, but let's go ahead and play the second one he did when he talked about how he just needed to keep things rolling. This was head coach Harris at post game.
These guys have been battle tested both mentally and physically, and so the performance that we put out there today, those guys did today, was outstanding. Excited for how they fought and stayed in it. They scored, we scored. They started to come back, and we never flinched. So, Jordan and the offense did a good job of coming back when they counter-punching. When they scored, we counter-punched back and scored again. So that's the name of the game for us. We have a team that's very resilient. You know what I mean? So very excited for these guys. They deserve this win. They worked their butts off for it, and can't be happier for these guys. That's for sure.
I can't agree with him more.
Right.
When he talked about punch, counter punch, when we scored, they scored. I mean, it's hard to say they didn't deserve the win.
I will tell you this. Unlike we don't know how the situation is going to work out with Coach Turner in Memphis. We don't know the situation with Wade Phillips in San Antonio. But I will tell you, from all appearances, when Coach Barlow left DC for the college ranks, clearly Coach Harris has fit perfectly.
Oh, you can
and has absolutely become the leader of that team. Mike, what do you think?
I think they got to take that interim title off there and make him. He's the head coach, so I think that'd be like the next move here pretty quick for the UFL. If anyone in the UFL is watching the Bottom Line show, put that in the suggestion box. Yeah, let's take the interim title off and have him as the guy for the long haul. I think the team's rallied around him, and at this point, the fan base, the guy's winning, so rally around the defenders here.
Well, and he, to me, going clear back to the first game against Birmingham, he's got that. You can agree with the exchange that Harris and Holtz had, or whatever it is, but Harris just seems to be that coach that, man, he's gonna fall on the sword for his players. He is doing everything he can to motivate. He's that kind of coach. It just seems like to me, just 1,000-yard look in, that those players are like, I want to play for this dude. Would you agree, KJ? I want to play for this dude.
I would 100% agree. I think it's a twofold testament in the positive, both in Reggie's defense or support and the culture that he has, put into that team as a whole organization or program. And then secondarily, for taking over, for you to see the gold that's already present amongst your players and say, okay, I need to maintain this. I think that's a testament to the next man up. So it's, in my eyes, they both are awesome dudes. And I think, as you said it, I think even Beck has that kind of, even though they didn't win this game, for those who have been around the league long enough and have seen Anthony coach and lead the Battlehawks as being an ex-player, he has that kind of younger moxie vibe to him as well that I think helps you more easily take command of a locker room, of an arsenal of players, and guys will just naturally rally around you more.
Right. So, I would agree with you. 100%.
It's an intangible, or whatever the right term is.
Yeah. So here was what Turner had to say when he was, or Harris had to say when he was questioned further on what's in store for DC now, courtesy of the UFL.
As every year, UFL's changing. What are you guys looking forward to, for the rest of the season? What do you guys got to make sure you focus on to continue to keep the things rolling here?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we got to continue to fix us first. Make sure we fine-tuning everything what we do and eliminate the mistakes that we make first. But the one thing that we've decided to do was, by winning 3 in a row now, we've put a huge bullseye on our back. So that's the one thing that we have to make sure that we understand, that now the job demands more. And so we can't afford to take time off or take steps back. Now it's going to get harder. Anytime you have some type of success, the road gets harder and harder and harder and harder. So the way we prepare, the way we prep in practice, the way we game plan, okay, we got to make sure we put a premium on all that stuff.
Absolutely the guy for DC. I agree,
Yeah,
Mike. As you take the interim off there.
He pretty much summed it up, didn't he? They're definitely turned into the hunted. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I know Brett probably got a kick out of his post-game locker room speech that he gave a little UT Vols love in, if he caught that on Twitter or not. I think they posted it both on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, you notice I've been real quiet while we talk about the coach from DC. Yeah. Hey, that reminds me of an old saying my dad always told me as a little kid, because I was the runt. He said, "Don't let that alligator mouth overrun that hummingbird ass." Don't let Birmingham and DC end up in St. Louis.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I've talked about that with another fan. I was like, what would the odds be to have a week one rematch, and you're going to know that Skip's going to be foaming at the mouth with the anticipation to repeat a San Antonio domination. So
That'd be a nice one. You know, I mean, I would love for my Panthers to get there, but that's a nice choice B situation matchup for a championship.
Well, the thing about Coach Harris is this. While I don't agree with maybe that being the right time to address it the way he did, the fact that he had the moxie to go after anyone, let alone Coach Holtz, who, obviously in spring football has plenty of accolades and everything to go along with it. While I don't necessarily agree with how he did it, I kind of like that. If I'm a DC
not
fan,
backing down from anybody.
If I'm a DC fan, I'm like, that's my guy. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I don't agree with it. But as a DC fan, I'd be like, that's my guy right there.
Well, it reminds me of Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers when Jim Schwartz went after Jim Harbaugh over that handshake,
Yep.
and chased him out the tunnel. Like that was the Detroiters loved, I was a fan of Jim Schwartz. He was a popular one. It was a shame that, but all things considered, but we're happy with Dan Campbell. But that was fun. That was a fun time.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, Wild Sun Winery. And when we come back, we're going straight to Eric Studs and Duds. We'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
So Eric, we are gonna have to move things along because
woefully behind again.
Yeah, looking
obviously.
at time, we are woefully behind again. We got to kick this off right before I get you started. So here is Eric Studs and Duds.
The cream rise to the top. Oh yeah.
Ah, dang, I pulled that cowboy hat off well. Okay. Listen.
You picked the wrong entrance song. You should have been playing Shawn Michaels' Sexy Boy, Ed, in the background.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start with the defense. On the defensive side, since we have touted the defense so far. The Marquise Gates for Birmingham, 10 tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for loss. Gets a nod on the studs list this week. Safety, Leon O'Neal Jr. for Houston, 9 tackles, 4 solo, 1 interception, and 1 tackle for loss. KJ, I know you'll appreciate that one. Tavante Beckett for San Antonio recorded 10 tackles, 3 solos, and half a sack. Frank Ginda had a good one. Mike, you'll attest to this, had a good game, 9 tackles, 4 solo, half a sack, 1 tackle for loss. I'm also going to give a whole stud call to the DC defense. Anderson, Kidd, Hines III. I mean, those guys really, really took it to St. Louis in a huge game. They really stepped up and did the job they needed to do. On the offensive side, Nolan Henderson. We were talking virtually from the second game, KJ, and I'm sure you'll attest to this. We could not figure out why Brown was still in there, but I think, according to CJ Johnson, that it's now Henderson's job to lose, and I'm sure you are happy about that. He was 10 of 11, only 80 yards, 1 touchdown, but a QBR of 127. Wide receiver, Kwame Lassiter of Memphis. I know it was a losing effort, but he had 6 receptions, 75 yards. And then Ty Scott for DC had a huge game, had that long of 62 from Jordan Teamu in the win for DC. And just for you, KJ, I am putting Houston, because they did spend a long time on my duds list last year. I am putting Houston's first win on the stud list.
Let's go.
Just for you.
You the man.
Now, on to
Wishing
the dud list.
all the best to Ty Scott, by the way, in his recovery, because I know DC will appreciate getting him back sooner rather than
yes,
Oh,
you are correct.
before we go to the dud list, does Mike or KJ have anybody that they think should be added to your studs you didn't mention?
Jaden Sheridan, just coming in, he looked absolutely phenomenal for the Panthers. So I'll give him his touchdown run on the stud list. That was a nice run for him. He may be a featured back now based on that game.
Did I miss any, KJ? I gave the whole Houston team.
No, yeah, so I can't really elevate anybody higher than the 2 he's already highlighted. I will say for me, someone that wasn't ever previously on my radar, who I saw a lot of stuff on the game day that I've appreciated and liked what I saw, was Isaac in our secondary. I was literally going horse in the throat, screaming his name towards the end of that game, and he was sticking to his man like glue from a defensive coverage standpoint. So while there may not be any flashy tackles for a loss or interceptions, one of many defenders that did their part to help us keep a tight wrangle on the showboats. And I would not be surprised to, even if I was challenged to put some money on him getting the INT before the end of the year, he might pull one off. So,
Ed, did I miss anybody? Ed,
you're looking the wrong way, dude.
I'm looking right at you.
No, you're not. You're looking the other way. You got to remember. You got
Look the other way.
I'm opposite. Ed, am I missing anybody?
Yeah, you're doing just fine. Keep going.
I got to look away from you now. Because on my screen,
in our spare time.
On my screen, I'm looking at you now, but I must be looking away from you on yours, so I got to look that way. On to the dud list. Manny Wilkins. Ooh, that was rough. That was rough as a Battlehawk fan to watch. 16 of 29, 3 INTs and 1 fumble. 41.1 on the QBR. That's not good. St. Louis's rushing attack also makes the dud list. 16 attempts, 45 yards. Woof. The Renegade offense. What's that, Ed?
That almost qualifies for this. Hold on a minute.
Boom, 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 boom. Can I do it for you? There it is, right there. Yes, I would agree. The Renegade offense. More importantly, the Renegade red zone offense. I mean, that was a game that they had numerous opportunities, and Coach Stoops, mentioned in his press conference. Ugly. You're exactly right, Brett. Very ugly. And I have 2 guys that, even though in wins, continue to make my dud list until they show different. The first winning quarterback that makes the dud list is Brett. Who do you think it is? Matt Corral.
Matt Corral.
Matt Corral put up some paltry numbers, 19 of 41. Even though Coach said we need to open it up more and we throw 41 times. I mean, woof.
Oh, well, there you go.
Real ugly. I'm with you on that.
Real ugly.
Touchdown. He did have the big touchdown. He had the big drive. I mean, so I'll give him that, but woof. And then 1 INT. Should have been 2. Arlington fans, sorry about the penalty. For a 64.6. And for the third straight week, a winning effort, again, as KJ called him, clutch. Jordan Ta'amu, 17 of 37. How can we be talking about a DC win when their quarterback is 17 of 37?
Yeah, but do you know what the Dome was like when he threw that bomb for a touchdown? This is what it sounded like in the Dome. That was the Dome after that touchdown.
Yeah. So that is the week 3 studs and duds list. Let's roll. Yeah, golf clap. Here we go. Let's keep it rolling, Ed. God, we only got 24 minutes, 23. Let's go.
So what we're going to do next is we're going to skip the game changer because we just don't have time. So I got to make up time. So
well, I would tell you, the game changer I knew you would put on there if you would was the interception that St. Louis dropped for an automatic pick six. But we won't get into that. So let's roll. Don't remind us. Don't remind us.
So let's part the Red Sea here. And let's go up here to Brett's power rankings for week 4. See how nice that fits? It's almost like it was meant to be. So I got to get Brett on here, so somebody's going to have to get booted. So I'll boot myself.
There you go, Brett. Knock it out of the park.
Man, you can't argue with DC. Very, very impressive. Beat Birmingham at home, held on, which could have easily been a trap game against Memphis, and then went to St. Louis and just kind of, handled business. Can't argue with it. I went ahead and I was really torn between St. Louis and Birmingham with the 2 spot. I mean, you could basically go 2A, 2B on that. I've seen some other polls where some folks had Birmingham ahead of St. Louis and vice versa. Arlington, they've got a defense. They've got the King of Spring. We're friends with Chuck Long. We really pull for Arlington there when our team's not involved.
Friend of the show.
Yep, friend of the show. Michigan, again, you could have them anywhere from 3 to 5. Just, I want to see a little bit more out of Michigan with their offense.
You mentioned Michigan and the Panther shows up.
And the Panther showed up. Look at that, Mike.
They know you're talking about the Panthers.
And it's like me. She's front of the house, but yet she thinks she runs things. She is the alpha Panther. 6, I got Houston. Look, we pull for every team in this league. We all have our favorites. KJ with Houston, Mike with Michigan, me with Birmingham, Eric and Ed with St. Louis. But we all want to see the teams do well. We want to see good attendance, on and on and on. Houston came close to beating Arlington, and Arlington the week before. Let's not forget, they did not have a good opening game. They pulled out that game in Memphis. It's going to be interesting Saturday night with Birmingham coming to town. I got San Antonio just ahead of Memphis. I mean, you could flip a quarter again. I just, Memphis had them a win. And San Antonio was almost given a win by Michigan. That's really why I've got Michigan number 5 was just they did everything in their power to pretty much give that game away to San Antonio. So that's why I wanted to see a little bit more out of Michigan. I think they can still win the USFL division and end up in St. Louis. I'm not knocking them. They got a good roster, good coaches. I just want to see a little more. Again, Memphis at number 8. Man, it's just been I've seen so many fans on X and Facebook say it's the franchise cursed, between this and that and the coaches going, coming and going and the quarterback situation and gosh, you go back to that crazy comeback by San Antonio last year in Memphis at the beginning of the season. It's just I think everybody on the show can attest to this. Memphis looks a hell of a lot better than what they did last year. They really do. They're this close. But that's kind of my thoughts and what I'm thinking between the power rankings right now. I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with them. You could definitely do some, 2 through 5. Everybody's is probably going to be different.
I love, but see, that's what I love about the UFL. If you go to, you could make an argument that you could put
context to justify.
Michigan at 2, Arlington at 3, St. Louis at 4, Birmingham at 5. You could have Birmingham. I mean, that's what I love about it.
Birmingham did not get my nod because I'm a Birmingham fan. Y'all know that. I don't cut them no breaks. The defense is a problem. That pass rush is a problem. Skip Holtz running that squad. We've got a lot of talent on offense, but absolutely, if the offense does not improve, they will not be back in St. Louis, and that's just my opinion.
So rapid fire, Mike's got 15, then KJ's got 15. Mike, what do you think with his rankings? What changes would you make, if any?
I mean, I like it the way it is right now. I mean, just one of these teams on the bottom there. It's time to turn it around. You don't have much time's running out for San Antonio and Memphis here. Houston, you're right there too. You got a tough game against Birmingham. It's time to turn it around.
KJ,
I'd say only 2 tweaks I'd give would be, I think, based on how Memphis played, and to Brett's point, how well they played DC, especially week 2. I think they maybe deserve a spot higher. And honestly, I think, no disrespect to St. Louis, but I think we've seen the chink in their armor, and they've, at this point, finally been exposed for all the glory they experienced for the first 2 weeks of the season. I think Arlington's the better team. That's just my opinion. Those would be the only 2 tweaks I'd make.
And then for myself, I'd say San Antonio and Memphis. It's okay to have them down at the bottom. It's really put up or shut up in week 4 for both those teams. They go to 0-4, it's over with. So
San Antonio's got DC, man.
San Antonio's got a must win. If they lose to DC in their conference, and you've already got 3 losses in the conference, there's no way they're coming back.
No.
So, Brett, let's go ahead. I'm going to pull this down, and we'll skip the attendance part of it. Let's go to the TV ratings. I'll let you comment on your TV ratings a little bit, and then we're going to have to get to the picks. So there is the TV ratings, and Brett can allude to what maybe we didn't realize going into these when they first come out.
Yeah, I started doing some digging because there was too much disparity between the top game and the bottom game, and I just knew something wasn't right. Yes, Memphis and Houston have had thus far, a rough season along with last year, but numbers didn't add up for me. So what I have found out, and I'm sure some of you will research it, and it is fact, Fox, ABC, and those networks include their streaming numbers. I don't know why. ESPN does their own thing. ESPN does not include their streaming. And for you guys and gals that have cable streaming, whatever, most of everybody now does streaming. So I would absolutely at least double that Memphis Houston number, and that's probably a little more than that. Honestly, I might be wrong, but so you're probably looking at anywhere from 650 to 750 that watched the Houston Memphis game. The Friday game went up a notch with Arlington and Birmingham compared to the previous Friday game. Michigan and San Antonio was solid. We still need to get those numbers up a little more, but DC and St. Louis is a really, really, really good sign, folks. I've done my research on NHL, MLS, and we had some smart comments on X, and of course I had to fire back because I always defend the league about the WNBA. Well, until Caitlin Clark went to the league, the WNBA was averaging 250 to 500 per game.
What other sport out there, Brett?
What's that?
What other sport out there do you compare ratings to?
Well, yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, I don't even know what all the racing leagues.
Yeah.
Not NASCAR, but would you say F1 were close, and some of the other Sprint Cup or
yeah,
I'm not a race fan, so don't back me in the corner like that. But the numbers are solid. They're not like they were last year, but I will say it's been a slow, steady climb from week 1 to now. We don't have March Madness anymore. That DC St. Louis game was so impressive because the Masters was on, and a lot of us that is Roy McIlroy fans, he had not sealed that deal yet when that game started. That was around 6 Central, I think, when he actually sealed the deal and won his first ever Masters. So that number right there is very impressive. What did it average? Almost 1 million and peaked at 1.4. Guys, we're headed in the right direction with ratings. And I know attendance needs to get up, but another positive sign real quick, because I know Ed's fixing to cut me off. Michigan had their best ever crowd their first game this season.
Yep.
Well, they turned around and beat it their next home game. So Michigan's looking good. I know everybody makes fun of Memphis, but they did have a better crowd in game 2 than game 1. There's so many variables in place. We shall see, but that's kind of the state of the union, so to speak, with the UFL.
Well, and I've got some numbers. Marty, thank you, Marty. He sent me the UFL attendance through week 1, and currently the comparison to 2024 is only a negative 3.7.
We were told, 2 months before the season started, that ticket sales were going to be down this year. I don't know who said what and how that information got out when it did. Of course, it was disconcerting, but there's so many variables in place. Look, we're very, very positive on this show. There's a couple, and I see you guys bashing them now on X and Facebook, and I'm glad y'all are calling them out. A couple of negative Nancy shows and pages that always want to give the league the kiss of death. One of them said, the league ain't coming back this year. Then they said the league ain't going to make it through the year, and oh God, the sky's falling.
Chicken Little.
Yeah.
Well,
excuse my language. We haven't cussed on this show in a while, but it's bullshit. The league is fine. We're crawling before we run, and we're headed in the right direction.
The thing that floors me the most is those same people that would say the league's dead, or the attendance is down, the rating, whatever, are the same ones that say, but I'm a UFL fan. I'm like, how? It's like you're wishing for the defeat to be right, or whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, you're saying, well, but I'm a fan.
No,
I'm not going to sit here and bash on the league. Listen, I'm going to sit here and enjoy it. Whether this is the last year or we get 10, 20, whatever, I'm just going to enjoy it.
You're a fan of drama. You're a fan of constantly causing drama. And
clicks for your social engagement because of the traffic of doom and gloom over
Yeah.
Natural.
I call them the CNN of the UFL.
Yeah.
I
got you, Marty.
real cozy.
Thanks for the info, Marty. I got you, bud.
Yeah,
thanks, Marty.
Big salute to Michigan for being the poster boy for year-over-year improvement.
Yes.
I don't think anybody would argue against that for sure. And I think, to your point, Brett, if we can get to that steady 1 mil plus viewership numbers, we're going to be matching essentially what 2020 XFL had, which is the goal.
Which was very impressive. That's what everybody's striving for right now is what XFL 2020 did.
For sure.
Okay, so I'll put the ticker at the bottom. That's where we stand after week 3. Enjoy it, boys. Enjoy it, because it ain't going to happen much longer.
Boom, 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 boom.
In fact, maybe I should put up the college NFL season just as a
Listen, in fact, what you should do is you should send me that damn dog that's sitting behind you, because I won last year UFL and I should be holding that damn thing until it's taken from me. Just saying.
I took it already, so you ain't getting nothing.
Shit.
All right, we are ready. We are ready to go into this week's picks, man. First game, Friday Night Football. The Memphis Showboats 0-3 travel to Michigan, Ford Field, who's 2-1. Michigan is 7-point favorites. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this, I'm not going to comment on the points there, but I'm going to take Michigan here with another coaching, in the news there with Whisenhunt. But you've seen this team before. Let's see. But it's dangerous for Memphis right now, but Michigan's too good right now. And Bryce Perkins is going to be looking to play this entire game, folks, with Etling, wishing him the best too. He's in a concussion protocol, so he's looking to be Etling all the way this game. So give me the Panthers, and they'll get back on the ground and pound with the running game.
John's taking wow, so he's taking Michigan. That's going out there on a limb. So is that Marty.
About as big a limb as all of us are taking.
Well, the only thing I can say is this is one of two teams that are on 3 that's playing for their season. And Memphis went into DC and gave DC all they wanted. So Michigan better come ready to play. That's all I got to say. But after saying that, I'm taking Michigan. How about you, Eric?
I agree with you. I have no doubt. As a St. Louis fan, I'm glad we played Houston already. We caught them on a good week. They've played really well in week 2, week 3. I wish we would have played Memphis already, so we could have got that game out of the way, because Memphis is going to beat somebody they shouldn't. I firmly believe that. And I think Houston is going to beat somebody they shouldn't, as we see it. I'm not saying they shouldn't beat them, but I'm saying as we see it. So with that said, I am also taking Michigan.
Brett?
Man, I got a house full of Black Panthers. I can't go against them because when I'm asleep, they're awake. So I got to take Michigan.
As you would say, they tear your ass up.
Yeah, E.J. Perry returns to the Ford Field. I mean, this could be a good game where I think Memphis could cover the spread here, but I don't think they take the win. I got Michigan still.
DJ's got the Showboats. What about you,
DJ's
KJ?
got the Showboats. He's the only one in the comment line so far.
I would definitely go Michigan as well. I think it's a unique little trend they're on right now where they break the 20-point mark one game, and the next game they're down to sub 15. I wouldn't think they score more than 18 points against Memphis, because I do think, to Mike's point, it probably will be a close spread. But I can't bet against Michigan either. They're just they got grit to pull it out each time.
So it's a clean sweep for Michigan. Next game.
Very important. I think we're going to see some division here.
Very, very, very important game for both these teams.
Division matchup.
Division to not to keep pace with DC. One of them's going 2-2, which might not bode well. St. Louis was 1 point or 1.5 point. No, excuse me. Started off as 1 point favorites. They are now 1.5. So this is actually not up to date. St. Louis is up to 1.5. So
the Renegades have yet to have a nickname for them at their own peril. We all know what people love to call the little birdies from up mid-central U.S. So I personally am fond of the surrender pigeons mantra, but it's got their own.
Pigeons.
So you pick your fancy there, but I'm just gonna say overrated and leave it at that. So
I like you, KJ, until that point.
So
we can't be friends.
KJ, I take it. Did you officially say Arlington or no?
Yes, yeah. Without saying it, I did say it. Yes.
Okay, Brett.
Man, this game is a coin flip. This is going to be a heck of a game. Give me, hey, look. I mean, damn. Come on. Best logo in spring football. And the history of spring football. And you got the king of spring, Luis, whatever y'all could, Perez, however. Yeah. We don't say it like Gabe, but you get the gist. 3-point game. It's going to be a fantastic game.
So we got 2 votes for Arlington, Mike.
Well, and last week, the first 2 weeks, I'm like, well, who did St. Louis really play? Then they finally play a good team in DC and get thumped. So give me Arlington in this game.
Boy, Eric, so how's it feel to have the heat taken off of you a little bit? John's picking on somebody else now.
Bitter. He's just bitter, man. The Battlehawks fans can't own it when they come up short. That's the problem. They have too much ego in it with their massive attendance. So,
I'm glad you said that and not me.
KJ.
Truth hurts.
Would you call
Eric?
Would you call Ed and I homers in this situation? I don't think so.
You haven't given the picks yet, one, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
You are of a populace of what 30,000+. I think I can apply a stigma that still excludes both of you.
Okay, all right. As long as we're excluded there, because the homer mantra just pisses me off because I can see weaknesses, I can see strengths, and it's like, ugh.
I just laugh when people have to insult my team's win record as some type of slight to my ability to evaluate other teams' skill set and level. That makes no logical sense or bridge connection. So
and you don't know John like I do. He digs on me constantly, so I just like the fact that he's digging on somebody else. It makes me feel better. So, with that being said, this, even though it is week 4, this is a must win for St. Louis. It has to be. You cannot go to 2-2. You cannot follow up, by all accounts, a terrible game against DC at home. You cannot follow it up with a loss against Arlington. I don't care where it's at. In Arlington, I know it's in Arlington, but no matter where it was at. You cannot follow that game up with another loss to a really good Arlington team. So with that being said, and this kills me because normally I try to jinx it the other way, I'm going to take St. Louis. It's going to be a close game, but this is a must-win game. It's a must-win game.
The one thing I was really surprised that Coach Beck wasn't asked at the post-game press conference was, why didn't he consider a change of quarterback in that game? I mean,
I've been wanting to mention that for 30 minutes.
If you look at game 1, they touted the fact that both quarterbacks were going to have an opportunity to play in week 1. So if anything screamed a change of pace or a change of quarterback, this last game did. So my question is there a chance we see Max this week?
You've got to give Max two drives at least. You've got to. You've got to.
We better.
But with that said, this game is huge. Absolutely huge. It's another inter-division game.
What does that say?
That's the NFC East standings. The Cowboys are not last, and we haven't won a Super Bowl, and we don't act like we did back in the 90s. So there you go, John. At least one make that's logically correct.
He's throwing shots at him now. My buddy Marty's a huge Cowboys fan.
I'll take it on the chin when it's accurate. You can't even make an insult that's accurate. Come on, my man. There's a lack of brain cells.
Something tells me we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go deep into the night because KJ's not gonna let this stuff slide. So.
I would never be called a Cowboys fan. You can take your own foot and stick it up your behind on that.
Hold on. I got this. Hold on. Hold on. I'm looking for my mute him note. I can't find it anywhere. Oh.
So we got Eric and I taking St. Louis, and the other 3 are taking Arlington. The next game up is the late game on Saturday. 2-1 Birmingham traveling to the 1-2 Houston Roughnecks. Birmingham is a 7.5-point favorite. This is on Saturday night prime time. With a win, Houston can get 2-2 along with Birmingham. Wow. You talk about a big difference.
Yeah.
Eric, go ahead.
Again, I'm glad we got Houston out of the way. The only thing that scares me in this game, and we talked about it earlier, is what can Henderson and the offense do against?
Let me screenshot this because Decky made the same prediction with fucking Memphis. Excuse my French. And he's because he's a coward.
Ned, where's the
coward?
Where's the mute?
After the game.
It's the one that started the cussing tonight, so now everybody says is going to be my fault.
First of all,
Hey, we're after 10 o'clock Central, so
yeah. First of all, while I may agree with you, John, that Birmingham will win this game, I disagree with you that in what universe is Birmingham putting 30 points up? I just don't see that. So,
it's the dimension of the Marvel universe, clearly.
yeah, the biggest question for me in this game is, and again, I think Houston getting that first win, there's going to be an uptick just in how they feel. Sure. What is Henderson and the offense going to be able to do against Birmingham's defense that Arlington could not and teams have not? I'm going to take Birmingham, but I don't know if I'd take the 7.5 points because Birmingham's offense just has not looked good. I'm going to take Birmingham, but I don't know if I'd take the 7.5 points. So Birmingham.
Like I said earlier, I agree in the fact that I see both defenses keeping this game close. At the end of the day, Houston's going to have to muster some type of offense. And with the way Birmingham's defense is playing right now, especially on the defensive line, I don't see it. But that doesn't mean I don't want to see drill, baby, drill. Isn't that is nice?
That's a good coin, man. Well done, KJ.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I mean, if you're gonna send one to Brett, I'll take one too. I'm just saying, whatever.
I did have the
I will actually
top 50 followers, I think. So
it will be part of everything I got going on back here.
Here you go, KJ. DJ Freaky, Houston by 3 in a low-scoring game.
I will not disagree with that, man. If we do somehow pull off the dub, it will not be by a large
DJ's
margin.
got 2 upsets this week.
Hey, he does.
Okay,
Hey,
Michael.
look at there.
Okay, Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going Stallions here. I think they're still going to find a way. Their defensive front's pretty solid. So I think, with Nolan Henderson, he's going to be the guy now. He might, run around and do some things, but I think it's going to be.
He's going to have to.
Not his time.
Yeah,
He's going to have to. So, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, if an upset happens, let's see. Drill Baby Drill's got to show up and help the Houston Roughnecks. Got to help them disrupt the Birmingham offense. But Skip Holtz, he's got his guys. He'll know what to do. He'll keep them cool, calm, and it'll be a coaching battle here too. And I think CJ Johnson's gonna. I think he's gonna be outclassed just a little bit here. I'm rooting for CJ Johnson, but Skip Holtz, he's got some rings on his finger, so he'll put that on display Saturday night.
Okay, Brett, is there anything left to add to that?
It's going to be a really close game. Birmingham, a lot of people don't know, Cole Snyder's been the leader of our offensive line since day one. This is 4th year. He's probably going to be out Saturday night, along with the left tackle that we lost. Houston's got a really good defense. I must have some relatives or ancestors from Missouri because I got to be from the Show Me State. I don't see Birmingham covering this line. If we're going to get better on offense, show me. Birmingham 13, Houston 10.
I don't disagree.
And Houston could absolutely upset Birmingham, but give me Birmingham in a close one.
To all you fans who go to Vegas virtually or in person, bet the under.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what the under is, but I'm taking it. I don't know what it is, but I'll take it.
What is the under? Anybody got it?
So.
Do you have it, Ed? What the over
The
under is?
over-under? No, but let KJ go, and I'll find it by the time he's done talking.
I had I think the Iowa Stallion off Twitter was asking me earlier today. We had kind of going back and forth talking smack, but he was asking for any noticeable position challenges that I felt Houston held better than Birmingham, and I'll agree with Brett. I think this is very neck and neck. Honestly, outside of QB, I think it can go either way. I would argue just based off of stats so far through the season that maybe our secondary edges out Birmingham's just a little, but they definitely take the line category. 7 sacks to our 5 or 2, I think it was. Yeah, 5. Same number of picks so far through the season, so it's a neck and neck battle there. You know, wide receiving core is out the same. Running, we arguably have been better, but I mean it's not really by a lot or much of any. When you look at how much Birmingham has been able to spread it out between CJ and company, CJ Marable. So yeah, I think between Nolan and our kicker really is what it's going to come down to, because on the stat sheet you've got a guy kicking perfectly for Birmingham, and we've got a dude that only has a 75% completion rating. Leave it at that and see where it comes out.
The thicker kicker, baby. Out of where's he out of, fellas? Missouri.
The over-under on this game is 36.5.
Under.
I'll put $100 on the under. I'm just saying.
Under.
Because if Birmingham scores 30 points, that means Houston's not putting up points.
Watch their big sixes.
The only game that's lower than that. Can you guess?
Hold on. Michigan and Memphis.
Yeah.
Yes, Michigan and Memphis over/under is 35.5. So they're looking at that as being a barn burner too.
I don't know. I think I'd go over on that game. Ford Field has a set. I think something about Ford Field really lets the offenses roll. So the conditions in there and the kickers and the perfect environment. So something about Ford Field really helps.
Michigan ran it 4 times up the middle at the 2-yard line against Birmingham. It's going under.
I like DJ Freaky's number pick. I'm going to go with his prediction, 16-13.
So are you telling me that I should engage in my first wager on underdog?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you get UFL on underdog?
They're on the sponsor, are they not?
They're the official.
They got to be. Yeah, they're a sponsor now.
I didn't see it.
What kind of a question is that?
Well, I didn't see it when I went in there because I got that money that we got to put on there. So I thought, man, I'm going to put $5 on every under and call it.
Well, if you subscribe for the first time, you might get a free couple bucks.
Yeah. You get $25-$50, man, for real. Or you could do like me and just go to betonline.com. That's our new sponsor.
So the last game of the week, another desperate team that needs a win bad, or their season is, in all intents and purposes, is over. You've got San Antonio 0-3 at DC, who's 3-0. Will DC have a letdown? The line started out at 7.5 for DC. It's down to 7. KJ, you go first.
I mean, there's just nothing that rings in the corner of San Antonio on this game. It's sad to say. On the road for the fourth week in a row, without their head coach, without their OC. Even though I'd say what's his face that's now leading the charges. I think out of the 3 teams that have had significant coaching losses, probably the second or first one I'd root to be the most successful in terms of possibilities. There's just nothing I can really give credit to for San Antonio in this game. It'd be better if Kellen was going against a more closely matched opponent to try to improve his overall efficiency as a QB. you're facing the league juggernaut right now, and it's just not going to end well. The best they can hope is to reduce the bleeding and keep the score close. I give DC the nod for sure.
Okay, Brett.
Well, I'm probably giving a game back to Ed because
To me,
I gotta
bud.
say,
To me.
what are you talking about? We're even.
Yeah, I know, but you're going to give me a game here.
I'm just worried about Ed because Ed hasn't been doing well since he's not in first place right now.
Yeah, he's not near as cocky when he's sitting.
No,
back there in
he's
third
not.
place.
No.
You guys act like I'm like way behind.
I'm sure he cringed when I sent him and Jason that group text or message on Facebook right before Manny threw the pick. I said, y'all watch, he's about to choke. And literally, he threw the pick in the DC game. It was so hilarious. Less than 5 minutes after I sent the message.
Why do you have to bring that up, KJ? God, I'm trying to like you.
I
God,
could have reached through the phone and choked the life right out of you.
Oh,
Man, San Antonio looked a lot better against Michigan. I think they're going to try to get the ball more to McFarland and Kirkland. DC has definitely been the best team in the league, but I keep going back to how, it was another really big game, just like the Birmingham game was, and you look how Memphis almost upset DC in DC, and San Antonio's definitely, to me, got more weapons on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm taking San Antonio in a big upset.
Michael?
Okay, Brett. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Yes. So, with all things considered, this is a big game for San Antonio. Division matchup, and, I'm thinking for DC, the higher the mountain, the deeper the valley. And with Jordan Tiamo's pass efficiency in consideration, I think San Antonio is going to try to shorten the game. The offense has changed. They're going to be more of a ground and pound team here. And I think the team is going to rally around the new coach. I think this is an upset. I'm leaning with Brett here on an upset here, taking down DC on the road. And then as far as the picks, I know I got to pick the spare with two guys picking St. Louis, the Battlehawks over Arlington. So I got to game this. I'm doubling down. I think, if San Antonio and Arlington get some wins here, it puts me in a good spot in the picks. So let's go Brahmas.
Bro,
Let's
you
go.
took DC,
Who?
right?
You said
No,
Brahms.
I took San Antonio.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did. Mike, are you taking San Antonio or DC? You said Brahmas.
San Antonio.
Okay.
Well, what the hell do you think San Antonio is?
Oh,
I knew that was coming from Ed.
I was thinking Birmingham. I was losing my mind here. Whatever. You're fine.
Right.
I'm like, what? I was like,
It's late, man. It's
It's
like
late.
10:15. I've had a long day. Anyway.
It's been a real long day in my business, too.
Oh, my God. Anyway. There's a brain fart.
I still don't think San Antonio got the message because there's still a lot more work that McFarland can be given. But there's nothing better than being a desperate team that has to result to desperate measures, that still has meat on the bone when it comes to McFarland. I think they go into DC playing like their season depends on it, because it does. They have no shot at 0-4. The only glimmer of hope they have is if they can get the win. So I am taking San Antonio, and this is the second time this year I'm taking San Antonio. If they lose again, they are dead to me.
And we could have just, I do these picks every week and put our results up, but, where we stand. But I guess Ed didn't want to put that up.
I'm going to put it up. That's why you're going to be proved wrong here in a second when I put them up. But I wanted to catch you red-handed. So, Eric, I'm going to let you finish before I expose Brett here.
John's right. It is past my bedtime as I put it up there. But if I put McFarland's touches at over under 8, how would you bet $100, Brett?
Oh, it'd have to be over 8. Yeah, it got to be
It
over.
has to be over 8 for them to win.
For them to
It's
win,
got to be
they have
over 15 for them to win. I'm just being
He
honest.
does not have McFarland does not have 8 touches out of the backfield all year in any game.
He's got to have 15 touches total out of whether it's receiving, rushing. He's got to touch the ball at least 15 times. If he don't, they're not going to win.
I agree, but I want to thank you guys for giving me a game this week because San Antonio has not learned in 3 weeks. They're not going to learn in 4 weeks that you got to give your playmaker the ball. If you haven't learned it going 0-3, you're not going to learn it going 0-4. For some reason, they believe that McFarland touching the ball 7 times and Mon throwing it 31 times is a recipe to win. They haven't learned it. They're not going to learn it this week. Give me DC and give me the lead, baby.
So let me pull this up here and what does it say under Brett?
Okay, I'm taking DC then.
No, you're not. No, you're not. We made the official picks of the video.
In writing. That's the one me and Ed talked about. We went back and forth. That's in writing.
No.
That's a signed contract.
You took San Antonio on air, and I've got Marty and John David and DJ.
No, I was just screwing around. My picks are in writing.
Yo, that's clearly a
You
typo.
created this. What are you talking about? That's my meaning.
Your word is your bond. Have you not heard that catchphrase before? Come on.
Yeah, but this ain't the 60s, and that don't even count no more. This is a legal document with my signature on it.
No.
According to Texas law, he entered into a verbal contract, therefore he's obligated. So just
You went into all this big spiel about how San Antonio's going to win and all this blah, blah, blah. And then he throws this up
Forgot
there.
who the hell I even took. And I don't want to hear about nobody having a bad week. I don't even want to hear it.
But
you gotta smirk or smile or something. So no, you're joking, Brett. You were stone faced.
Your official pick is San Antonio. I don't care what that DC underneath your name says, and that's
No, we gotta let Ed. This is Ed's deal. What's my pick, Ed? Are we just going to know what's in writing or what?
You want me to make a judgment after you guys have screwed me over how many times?
Who screwed you over?
Every time I tell you guys
Screwed you over last year. That wasn't me.
No. So screw you guys. Brett, you says DC, you got DC.
Screw you, Ed.
I'm saying Brett, you should ride on the Brahmas with me. Let's go.
Hey, $50 that San Antonio's now going to win because now I got DC. I'm going to lose that game. It don't make a damn who I pick. I've already made my mind up.
If Brett's wrong, y'all both lose, so he doesn't take the lead. You're still tied.
No, but listen, if DC wins, the first thing out of my mouth, I'm going to take Ed down just like this, and it's going to be me all alone at the beginning of next week, and I am going to piss and moan for the first 5 minutes of next week's show if DC wins about how I should be in the lead, but Brett was tired and he forgot who he picked, and he wasted 45 seconds of the show telling us how San Antonio was going to win the game. Now he's changing his pick.
With the signal you've had for the last 2 months, and you're going to talk about time I've wasted on the show.
Next time, just show the graphic first, and then let all these.
That's what I don't even know why I'm making the graphic if we ain't gonna go off of it.
This sounds like the perfect scenario for the Brahmas to upset DC.
My question is this: how the hell can you put DC on your graphic and then spend 45 seconds to a minute telling us how San Antonio is going to win the game?
That's why I was doing this, because I knew damn well he took DC, and I'm like,
so did I. But I let him go on a San Antonio rant because I'm like, wait a second. I know Brett took DC with me because I was looking. I got one game against Brett I could pick up, and I got one game against Ed I could pick up.
Ed can vouch for me. I was torn yesterday when I was talking to him on the phone. I said, well, I kept thinking this, but they really need this, and
Oh,
I'll tell you what, I'm never playing heads up or face down poker with Brett one-on-one because my ass would lose. I'd fucking gullibly
Jesus. You know what that reminds? This is what he would say. Hey, KJ, we're gonna flip. Heads I win, tails you lose.
Right.
That's what it said. I mean,
here's
Hey, I'm pretty good at poker and blackjack. Just saying.
we are going to the official Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe auditors. Eric, you need to calm your ass down because here is the text that shows what Brett's picks are. And it shows Brett did exactly what he picked in his graphic.
then why did he waste a minute of our time telling us how San Antonio was?
Because he's getting old. He can't remember what he did.
He's
yesterday.
younger than I am, for Christ's sake.
The senile cat man, y'all watch
Oh
out.
my God.
Hey, I've had years of self-abuse, buddy. So, you know,
It's like
I lived the life of a rock star and never sung a note.
this is exactly how it be. You know, I think Houston's been playing really well here the last couple weeks. They had a rough start on. You know, I think Houston's offense with Nolan Richardson being the quarterback, you know, has a real good chance to at least put enough points up with the way that Birmingham's offense is struggling. You know, give me Houston 16-13. Oh, wait, the graphic says Birmingham. I got Birmingham.
Brett, you look 10 years younger with your hat on backwards.
Brett is the perfect example. Brett is a perfect example of some 40-year-old men look into the mirror and they see this. Some 40-year-old men look in the mirror and they see this.
Yeah. That is Brett right there after making the San Antonio pick and then said, oh, wait, I got DC. Oh, my God.
Like, oh, wait a minute.
Can we put that on a freaking blooper reel or something? Can we get that out there? Like,
No, because when Chad cussed you out that night, y'all would never let me do a reel. Y'all would. No, we could have went viral, but no.
Oh, yeah, we could have went viral like this. Hey, beep, 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 beep. Hey, I got beep, beep, beep. You can't go viral doing that. Oh,
Good old
my
Chad.
God.
He had Chad so angry that night. Woo, he was red faced. He was red faced.
Here, Marty nailed it right here. I said at the beginning of the show, he looked tired. Like, he did. He goes,
Would you agree, KJ, that we need to get this back at some sense of order again?
Jesus.
Marty's right. I am tired.
Oh,
good Lord.
Brett needs a
I'm tired too, but at least
I need a
remember
cat
my
nap.
damn picks. Oh.
So I want to remind everybody, of course.
Now I hope San Antonio does win, so Eric loses, whether I lose or not.
So you,
Go Brahmas.
You know you shot your wad at 8-4. You know you're going down. So I mean, come on.
Well, I told Ed this week. I said,
okay. I'm muting all four of your asses.
Yeah, I can get it back. I can unmute myself. Remember, I got control too.
We're going to be here all damn night if you don't let me close out this show. So I'm going to let you guys take the mute off because we need to make sure everybody knows that we have a very important week coming up next week. We are pulling a doubleheader next week. We have on Wednesday night, as normal, we have the Bottom Line show covering 100% of the UFL
for
on
39
Wednesday
straight
night.
weeks.
But we turn around the next night, starting at 6:30 Thursday night on the night of the draft, live coverage of the Bottom Line for the whole first round of the draft.
As the draft unfolds.
We had an awesome time last year doing it. We had a lot of people that enjoyed watching it with us. And I swear to God, we were pretty much swamis. Even when it come to the Sam Darnold trade, we were on it.
It's unreal how we nailed it last year. Unreal.
It wasn't really a trade, was it? It was just
No, it was
free agent.
Yeah, it was.
I was about 6 in at that point.
Yeah, but last year was a lot of fun, and we absolutely nailed it. I don't know how, but we nailed. I don't know. Did we even get a pick wrong until about the 18th pick? We were screaming. I was screaming.
We did a hell of a job.
I was screaming for somebody to take Cooper DeJean, and they didn't. How'd that work out for the Eagles? Pretty dang good. Just saying.
So we are going to start Thursday night at 6:30. We'll go to the conclusion of the first round, which could be anywhere from 9:30 to 10, I suppose. But we will have the guest. We will have the guest line open for anybody who wants to weigh in, anybody who wants to pop on, give their predictions. But we will also be, again, Brett, we got to tell everybody, like and follow the Bottom Line.
Like and follow. YouTube. XFL or what is our God? I'm tired. On X, we are TBL_2023. And we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram and Facebook. We're not getting on any Twitch and Snitch and TikTok and Slapjock and all that. I ain't got time for all that. That's where we're not at.
Spotify.
And this is our, just for posterity, this is our 39th straight week. 8 o'clock Wednesday.
I've only threatened to quit 27 times in that 39 weeks. Wondering. I've only pissed Ed off 48 times, Eric 39 times,
He's tried to
Mike
quit.
12 times. So, you know.
He's tried to quit 29 times. I accepted 15, but say
I bet I've said what now at least 20 times.
Well, out of 100 times, 98 times was due to we already know. We already know. Yeah.
End the show before we get 2.5 hours in, Ed. End it.
So with that said, everybody enjoy football this weekend. Hope your team wins. Enjoy the UFL. Get your family, get your friends. Go to a bar, have the bar, turn the game on.
Yeah, there it is. There you go.
Follow the UFL. Know that every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central, if it's the UFL, it's the Bottom Line. Have a great weekend, everybody.
And that's the bottom line.